I went camping with 7 strangers. Sorry, make that 5. 2 of them I sort of know. So my college, Utah Valley University, has something called the OAC, the Outdoor Activity Center. This is the place where they rent and sell anything outdoor related. But on the side, they have fun events that they'll schedule that you can sign up for. This event was a backpacking / climbing trip. I was pretty darn hyped for this. It cost me, I think, $55 to enter. But for those $55, you get your whole meal paid for, all the gas is paid for, your gear's paid for. Like, it's really honestly a great deal. My shoes came untied. I'm gonna keep it that way though. Anyways, because we are signing up, I don't actually know who's signing up with me. So when I show up on the day to leave, I get to meet everyone who's come with me, whether I know them or not. And yeah, they're absolute strangers. It was great though. We went to a place called Ruth Lake, which is about an hour to, I'd say an hour and a half to 2 hours northwest of my campus. It was going to be a high of 48 degrees out there and a low of, I think, 28 that night. I have never ever camped in weather that cold. I also do really bad in cold temperatures, whereas my fingers get frozen and my toes get frozen. I got bad circulation in both those places. But we took off, and the hike to Ruth Lake, once we had gotten there, was literally like a mile long. It wasn't even a hike. We threw on our backpacks and walked for a bit of distance. Once we got there, the location was absolutely gorgeous. I said gorgeous. The lake was just perfect, surrounded by a bunch of rocky Uinta mountains. Uinta is the national forest that we're camping in. Once we had gotten and set up our tents around 6 o'clock, but by that point, we were like, okay, we gotta make dinner and stuff because it's gonna get dark quick. So that's what we did. We had burritos, and they were delicious. Well, originally we weren't gonna make a fire, but after realizing how cold it was gonna get, we did make a fire. Thank God that we did that, because without that fire, we all would have frozen our butts off that night. The fire was very crackly and poppy, which was cool, I guess. But more importantly, getting to sit around the fire with a bunch of strangers was really fun. Getting to know people in such a weird way was really neat. In less than a day, I got to know a handful of people way better than I would have ever gotten to know someone in a month of just casually knowing them, you know? It was really cool getting to hear everyone's stories. We played 2 Truths and a Lie, did some other stuff. We mainly just talked and chit-chatted. The stars were also gorgeous. We got to see the Milky Way that night, but it was time to go to bed, and I froze my butt off that night. Thankfully, I had hand warmers, and I stuck it in my sock to keep my toes warm, and it worked like an absolute charm. So while my face was completely frozen, everything else was quite comfy. Waking up that morning, there was sleet on the... I just rolled my ankle. There was sleet on the ground, which is really cool. We got, I guess, a little bit of precipitation. We were actually expected to get a lot more than what we actually got, which was great. But yeah, when we woke up, the lake had kind of steamed over because I guess the lake was warmer than it was outside, which the lake is already cold enough. So that just goes to show you how cold it actually was outside. I skipped a couple rocks. We made breakfast. I just had oatmeal, which was great. Cinnamon, yummy. And then we grabbed our tents, packed them up, put them in our bags, hiked back to the truck, loaded up our backpacks, everything except for our climbing gear, then hiked back to the rocks to go climbing. Now the sun had come out, so I was like, okay, we should be good. I don't need to bring too much. I just brought a hoodie, that was it. Hoodie and gloves. We got up to those rocks, and the wind picked up, and the sun went behind clouds. All of us were freezing our butts off. We were all just like shivering for the whole time. The climbing in and of itself, I mean, I smashed it. I've never been climbing once in my life. I got to learn how to belay people. I had to belay a stranger. A stranger had to put their full trust into me. I just realized that. But yeah, I climbed the rocks. There was 2 routes and I did both of them, and I made it to the top of both, which was sweet. I smashed it and I was really proud of myself. But that was pretty much it. We were all really cold and we were satisfied. So we packed our things, got back in the car, and drove home. It was a 24-hour turnaround, pretty much. I felt like in this trip, I did stuff with strangers that I felt like I would only be comfortable doing with like people I really knew close. And it was really neat too, because I feel like everything I do is very independent. And so getting the opportunity to have an experience like that with people, let alone strangers, was pretty eye-opening for me. Every time I do stuff like this, I always know that it'll be better if I do it with people, but it just doesn't seem like there's people out there that want to do this. Like, isn't it kind of weird that I'm like holding a phone, talking to my phone, looking at a camera with a microphone on it? Like, isn't that kind of weird? But yeah, that's my Ruth Lake backpacking camping with strangers thing. I hope you enjoy the story time. Sleet on the... I just rolled my ankle.